back, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. And I want to welcome you back to the Robin's Nest. As always, if you find my rambling interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications, it works. Share this video, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out our eBay for interest in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, auto parts, anything else you can think of. Link is in the description. Follow me on Facebook and X for more motorsports content. And X for some amusing opinions of mine on basically anything under the sun. I've been gone. I haven't made a podcast video in a couple weeks. I don't know if I had the COVID. If I had COVID or if I had the flu or if I had the plague. Not really sure what it was, but it was pretty bad. I couldn't talk for more than 5 seconds without coughing, so that wouldn't make for a very interesting video. Or there'd be a lot of editing, one of the two. And why do that when I can just make cool compilations that everyone seems to enjoy? So, and shine a light on some of the history of NASCAR and whatever. You know, back when racing was awesome. It's still awesome. But forewarning, what we're going to talk about today is going to make some people's tummies hurt, because I talked about it on X, and man, you would think that I insulted someone's mama. And what I want to talk about, obviously, is the championship weekend. This past weekend with the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series, and a total joke it was. And I want to preface everything that I'm going to say with I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan. I'm not a Joe Gibbs fan. Okay, I used to work for Rick Hendrick. I am partial to Rick Hendrick, so you know from that time period. So I do kind of lean towards Rick. That being said, what happened this weekend was total nonsense. Total nonsense. I want to start off with the truck race. I can't remember, was it Connor Mozak had a tire going down. Knew he had a tire going down, yet stayed out on the racetrack, blew tire out, hit the wall, caution comes out, which saved Corey Haim, because it was very much looking like Tom Majeski was going to end up stealing the championship out from under him. Now, whether all that was orchestrated or not, I don't know. It never should have happened, regardless. It just never should have happened. The Xfinity race, I'm glad it went the way that it did. Nothing against Connor Zilic. I don't have a problem with that kid. You know, I made a post of, I think it was like yesterday, of Dick Trickle standing on top of his car after he won Darlington in 98. He was like 57. And he stood up on top of his car, no problem. Took him a minute to get up there, but he still did it and didn't fall off the car. And then I posted a picture of Connor falling. And for some reason, people got their feelings hurt about that. It's a joke. It's not meant to be taken serious. Connor makes fun of himself online all the time for falling off the car. So, I mean, it's people take everything way too serious nowadays. It ain't that serious. All right. But the Xfinity race, I'm glad it went the way that it did, because it exposed, yet again, how truly idiotic this format is to crown a champion. The playoff format. Playoff formats in general are awful in motorsports. But this particular one is just downright ridiculous. The one race garbage. Connor had a record break. Now, I don't agree with a lot of what happened throughout the season. I think there was a lot of hinky stuff going on, you know. I think it was evident, Portland, where he blew through the first chicane. And NASCAR was like, well, he did what we asked him to do. Well, yeah, but what you asked him to do gives him an unfair advantage by leaving the track. That's a penalty in any other form of racing on the planet, except for NASCAR. Gateway, when he backed the car into the wall doing donuts, you're a professional race car driver. You don't do that by accident. That was intentional. You know, just like Corey Haim standing on the roof of the truck. And I mean, the roof of the truck Friday night looked like it had been in a crash, like it had flipped over. Again, all that stuff's intentional. And you can come at me and say what you want to. These guys are professional race car drivers. They know what they're doing. Okay? There used to, actually, if we want to go back far enough, in the 2000s, the early 2000s, they made a rule against the guys getting out and standing on the roof of their car, because, I mean, the word got out what they were doing was the cars weren't legal The drivers knew that. The teams knew that. So if they won, they would get out and they would deliberately stand on the roof of the car. Because if there's damage, it can't not pass post-race tech because it's damaged. So they had made a rule against that. I don't know whatever happened to that rule. Obviously, it's not a thing anymore. It should be. But the Cup race, man. The Cup race was just an absolute joke. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch most of it because I knew what it was going to be. I just want to start off with the very end. We had Ryan Blaney won the race, and the TV crew didn't even mention him. I've never seen a race, a professional motor race, where they don't even acknowledge who won the race. They never mentioned his name as he was going across the start-finish line to win the race. The little bit of post-race I watched, they never mentioned it, and they never interviewed him. What? Just like what I said about Denny, I'm no Ron Blaney fan in the slightest. But what is that? That's complete nonsense. And you go back a little bit further in the race, they had all four of the championship drivers were going 4 wide for the lead at one point. It was a photo op, is what it was. That wasn't real. That was all orchestrated, 100%. And therein lies the problem with what's going on in NASCAR. And I honestly don't think a full season format will change it. They've made it obvious that they have no issue putting their thumb on the scale and manipulating what we watch. It's blatantly obvious. You get down to the end of the race and William Byron has a flat tire. Knows about the flat tire long before he gets to the corner, which is why I had the car slow down. If you watch the replay of him hitting the wall, he didn't hit the wall very hard. He had the car slow down. He knew what he was doing. Yes, because I've had people ask me, well, you think he deliberately put the car on the wall after the tire went down? Yeah, I do, actually. I do. 100%. Denny Hamlin was going to win the championship. Denny Hamlin is currently embroiled in a lawsuit with NASCAR. A lawsuit that, in all likelihood, unless something crazy happens, if it goes to court, NASCAR is going to lose. So, yeah, why is it crazy to think that they would do whatever they could within their power to make sure he didn't win the championship? Just think about it. He's currently suing them, and he's going to win the championship. Obviously, they ain't going to let that happen. They're just not going to. So there was blatant manipulation and, having their thumb on the scale and all that kind of stuff. And I can't, over the past few years, I've started watching other forms of racing real hot and heavy. I used to not. Like, when I was growing up, I'd watch NASCAR and I'd watch supercars and I'd watch Indy here and there. But I was never really, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I was never really, like, wrapped up in those as much as I was NASCAR. Like, I could tell, if there's something you want to know about 90s and 2000s NASCAR, I could tell you everything about it off the top of my head. I can't do that with some of those other ones. But when, I think my wife and I, when we got together about 8 or 9 years ago, I know I should know the exact number. I don't. Don't tell her that. Anyways, when we got together is when I started watching other stuff. And when you go from watching something like supercars, and I say supercars from like that period, several years ago, because now they're trying every way in the world to be NASCAR in Australia to the point where they have playoffs or finals. Just so idiotic. But back then, it was just legitimate racing. But you go and you watch that, and then you turn on NASCAR. I mean, it is such a night and day difference. Where that stuff was taken seriously, it was treated as a legitimate motorsports category. And NASCAR, to me, it just comes across as like, and I know the phrase is overused, but like WWE on wheels, or the Jerry Springer show. The sanctioning body has their hand in everything. And for the people that want to argue that, because this pisses people off for some reason, I don't understand why. Like, you would think, like I said, that you cussed out their mother or something, but if you even suggest that there may be something hinky going on behind the scenes, these people will cuss you out, dox you, and like just acting crazy. But if you take a step back and look at it for a second, we're talking about a series that has timeout breaks. A motorsport series that has timeout breaks. A motorsport series who stages came from the caution clock. You're going to sit there with a straight face and tell me that the caution clock and stages are not manipulating the flow of a race. Obviously they are. And that was the whole intent. You know, I don't believe the whole nonsense about, well, they needed more commercial breaks. That's why they put them in there. Half the time they don't even go to commercial break. So no, I don't believe that. It's just a way to manipulate the race, try to make it more exciting, get as many restarts as possible, because they know after about 5 or 6 laps, these current cars are boring as hell to watch. So, but with the restart, that's really exciting for like 2 or 3 laps. And so as many of those as we can get, that's great. But even Kyle Larson, all 3 of the guys this weekend, you know, they're being plastered all over the place as being like legends of the sport. I saw something, I think it was motorsport.com, was talking about Kyle Larson is quickly catching up with Jeff Gordon, you know, with his championship record. No, he's not. He's not. I think most real fans of motorsport don't look at these championships as championships, because they're not. It's a gimmicky, cute little show to try to get the generation behind me, who's got the attention span of a squirrel. Not all of them, but a good portion of them have the attention span of a squirrel, so they're trying to get them to watch. And, you know, it's just not, it's not racing. It's just not, man. And, you know, I'd love to say that a 36 race format, or however many races it is in Xfinity and trucks, would fix the problem. But NASCAR's still going to have their thumb on the scale. And Steve O'Donnell is one of the most incompetent people I've ever seen in my entire life. The State of the Sport address Friday, he said that the whole playoff thing has been a learning experience for NASCAR as well. What? You're the sanctioning body. What? How is it a learning? You should have known after about 10 minutes if it was going to work or not. Hey, man. Just incompetent. It's an amateur. Just, it's annoying. But anyways, I just want to give y'all my opinion on that nonsense this weekend. So, if you enjoy listening to me, make sure to like, subscribe, with a comment, turn on notifications. It works. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done this. I'm trying to get back in the swing of it. But also check out our eBay if you're interested in diecast, t-shirts, what have you. Literally anything. The link is in the description for that. Follow me on Facebook and X for more motorsports content. Those links are also in the description. As always, thank y'all for watching. Till next time, we'll see you. Peace. There's a table there.